Express on GhTv Holland. Today is another week, beginning 13th August 2018. There is food for everybody, food for the soul, but for the soul. Without much ado, go take our words for our souls, which we prefer to call motivational signpost.
Today, gentlemen, I've been honored to coach you. I'm more honored to take you into the field of battle. But there's another honor that's been bestowed upon you. And that is the mantle that comes with that question. Who am I? I am a champion! That's right. You need to remember that all through this game. I will conquer what has not been conquered. Defeat will not be in my creed. I will believe what others have doubted. I will always endeavor to uphold the esteem, honor, and respect of my team. I have trained my mind and my body will follow. Who am I? I am a champion! I will acknowledge the fact that my opponents do not expect me to win. But I will never surrender. Weakness will not be in my heart. I will look to my comrades and to those who have brought me to this world and those who have trained me, and I will draw strength from them. Who am I? I am a champion! I will gradually go out into the field of battle, and I will move in everything I can do. And I will reach my field of battle at any means at my disposal. And when I get there, I will rise violently. I will rip the heart from my enemy and leave it bleeding on the ground, because he cannot stop me. Who am I? I am a champion! To my side, I have comrades. Comrades that have been through me through thick and thin, through sacrifice, through blood, through sweat, through tears. Never will I let them fall. Never will I let them down. And I will never leave an enemy behind. Because our opponent does not know my heart. Who am I? I am a champion! No one will deny me. No one will define me. And no one will tell me who and what I am and can be. Belief will change my world. It has moved continents, it has moved countries, it has put man on the moon. And it will carry me through this battle. Who am I? I am a champion! Defeat, retreat, those are not in my words. I don't understand those definitions. I don't understand when things go wrong. I don't understand mistakes. But I do understand this. I understand victory, and I understand never surrendering. No matter how bad things go, my heart, my mind will carry my body with my limbs are too weak. Who am I? I am a champion! Today will be that day. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now, right here, in your house and in your home. Who am I? I am a champion! History will remember me! I will not let everybody be kind. I will define myself. I will write my own praises. And no one will tell me what I can never be. I will never go out not knowing I've given everything I've got. Because who am I? I am a champion. 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 Champions on these champions on my 1, 2, 3 champions. Go get these boys.
Welcome back on Morning Express on GhTv Holland. My name is Charles McCarthy. I said every day has its own issues. Beginning today, let's go look at what the newspapers has for us today. Today's newspapers. To begin with, we have the Nation's Daily Graphic. It's a truth and accuracy every day. And on the banner headline of the Daily Graphic, it said 4 policemen shot, attacked when responding to distress call. 4 of our policemen were shot, were attacked sincerely when responding to distress call. Government working to end IMF support, according to the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. Don't desert indigenous banks. Consultant appeals to public. According to a consultant, we shouldn't abandon them. At the back page of the daily graphic, FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup. Princess Essex win over New Zealand. Yes, our princess, even after winning against New Zealand, will be welcome soon into the country. Satellites for 2019 African Championship. All these and more in the daily graphic. Next on the list is the daily guide. Nana exposes Mahama at Menchia. Say Nana Akufo-Addo, the president exposes Mahama at Menchia. UT Capital Bank blow 1.47 billion Bank of Ghana bailout. UT Capital Bank blow 1.47 billion Bank of Ghana bailout. When the banks were reported to be in distress, Bank of Ghana attempted to bail them out, gave them a whooping 1.47 billion cedis. They decided to use it for other things, social activities, rather than salvaging the bank. 2 Ken and USC students drowned in Germany. Oh, this is a sad story on the front page of Daily Guide. Robert shot 4 cops at Sukura. Robert shot 4 cops at Sukura. All on the front page of Daily Guide newspaper. The Ghanaian Times said, we will make free SHS compulsory. President. I thought it was already compulsory. Work on Accra Kumasi Dual Carriageway to begin end of year. And here again, 4 cops, civilians shot by armed robbers. At the back of the Ghanaian Times, Black Princess peep New Zealand. Alote retains WBO African title. Black satellite qualified for Niger 2019. The Chronicle. I have done nothing wrong in UT Bank loan debacle. Afenyo Maki. Nonsense. Stupid man. These are the words of Howard Kumsin, a minister of state attacking a national security operative. They are not my words. Nonsense. Stupid man. Howard Kumsin attacks national security operatives for enforcing presidential orders. That story can be seen on the front page of the Chronicle. Pentecostal churches ran away from tax payments. Pentecostal churches. So why should they run away? Ghana will gain economic freedom next year. President Nana Akufo-Addo is telling us that Ghana certainly will gain economic freedom next year. We will see how that happens. And that is all we have by way of newspaper headlines. Sadly, I say sadly because a nation that does not put currency on its youth is not worth dying for. Yesterday, the world celebrated youth, the International Youth Day. And Ghana, I did not hear anything coming from our president. Nobody has spoken about it. The various political youth leaders in this country, not a single comment, no direction. The major newspapers in this country, Daily Graphic, Ghanaian Times, Daily Guide, Chronicle, and any other newspaper you can think about, did also not even give us a heading just to commemorate this day. It's a sad situation being a youth myself. I don't know about you, and I know you will get worried at the trend, the way youth have been treated in this country. I am, however, not surprised because in a nation where the youth form the majority of the electorate, our constitution simply bars us from taking leadership roles. It says that if you are below 40, you cannot even contest to become president. However, you can vote for a president, even if you are 18. They get it. Clear segregational laws, and that is why they don't put currency on that. That is why they think that what we can do is simply about pasting posters and singing Jama, welcoming president and ministers, MPs, and forming, putting ourselves into groups called political party vigilante groups, Azoga, Delta, Invisible, to destabilize the peace of this country. With me in the studio, like I told you before, that here at GhTv Holland, we will do what others are afraid to do. We will speak what all others will not speak, because that is journalism. All others is PR. All these are PR words. Things that people will not say are the things to say without fear or favor. This morning we are blessed to have a youth activist. It's a change agent. The titles are many that if I want to mention them, we may not start this program today. For the sake of clarity, I will allow himself to mention his titles, those he wants you to know. But he is Cedric Dzelu. Cedric, welcome to Morning Express on GhTv Holland.
Thank you very much, Makati, and it is good to see you. I say that profoundly in the Zulu way, Samunai. It is good to see you.
I think, you see, I told you, where have you been? Now Zulu way. Not I can't follow Zulu.
No.
The Zulu is I see. Yeah. Anyway, you can join the conversation via 003168440993. If you are watching us live on Facebook, GhTv Holland, on YouTube, GhTv Holland, you can get us also with Google Play. You can get us GhTv Holland. You can also go www.GhTv Holland and join the conversation. Tell us, Cedric, your titles. Will you share that with my viewers?
I mean, for this platform, I would want to identify myself as a change agent of the YMCA, Global YMCA, and an S2C ambassador of the African Alliance YMCA.
So what happened yesterday?
I begin by saying that I share a sentiment, the one you expressed so profoundly about how, as a country, we have not given oxygen to the concerns of young people. These are the things we should have been reading or talking about in terms of headlines. Unfortunately, they are in the shadows. But for us in the YMCA, for us in the Young Men Christian Association, we did not forget about the young people. So yesterday we celebrated the International Youth Day. The Ghana YMCA celebrated this at Koforidua, where close to 500 young people were brought together across the country to celebrate this day and to speak to critical matters on the theme creating safe and power spaces for young people.
You say safe space for youth. Safe space. What is this space?
Makati, this is an emerging concept and it's coming from the principle of empowering young people without discrimination, empowering young people without judgmental attitudes. You and I will come to terms with the struggle. When I say struggle, the struggle of young people. Back in school, we were at the forefront of the youth struggle. There were many times when if you raise an issue concerning the young person, you will face judgmental attitude, you will face discriminations and stuff. And so the UN and of course all the international organizations are promoting this concept of safe spaces to call on young people, to gather young people, to begin to discuss those critical matters that concerns young people, and of course that concerns all. An environment that is non-discriminatory, an environment that is non-judgmental. And this is an attempt to promote all inclusiveness to address such challenges or concerns of young people.
So you're looking at safe space,
Yeah.
according to yesterday's team,
Yeah.
or this year's team for the celebration.
Certainly.
What are the critical areas you are looking at?
Okay, so safe space has different components. We have civic space. Civic space speaks to young people engaging in political and governance issues. You rightly bemoan the situation where young people at 18 can vote, but young people less than 40 cannot contest for presidency. This is not exclusive to Ghana. In that regard, the atmosphere, the political space, the civic space is not safe for young people. How can young people engage in political and governance matters without being discriminated against? We look at issues of digital space. The digital space, the platform that virtually allow young people, regardless of their locations in the world, to get connected, to engage, to share ideas. How safe is that platform? How safe is the social media, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp? How can young people engage one another in terms of ideas on issues without being judgmental, without compromising on each other's values? So that in itself, so we have 1, 2, we have safe space, physical space. I'm talking about Holland as an example. In terms of physical space, what is the policy of this station in ensuring that sexual issues are given the right approaches, that young men here, young women here will not be sexually harassed in our companies, in our institutions? What is the physical space there for young people to aspire to achieve their dreams without being discriminated against and without being confronted with challenges? So safe space basically is the full component of young people reaching out to one another, young people engaging one another, and young people aspiring to become who they want to become in an environment that does not discriminate, an environment that tolerates, in an environment that is all inclusive. This is what we talk about when we talk about safe space.
So how safe is this safe space?
I mean, this is one of the criticism that has come so loudly against safe space. Makati, truly speaking, I will tell you that there is some form of hostility in the safe space itself. I have traveled far and near, and in one of my encounters in Japan, we were discussing safe space, and the issue on board was on LGBT, gay and lesbian rights. Now, the principle of safe space requires that we discuss these matters devoid of sentiment. So when our colleagues, change agents from Europe and America, raise this concern, that let us discuss gay issues, let us discuss lesbian issues. My colleagues from Africa says, no, these are issues, these are no-go areas, these are issues that we cannot accept, we cannot promote culturally. You understand? In that sense, it is not safe for people coming from Africa, not Africa per se, but people from different regions to accept that kind of discussions. But the principle of safe space says what? Let us discuss these issues.
You have the freedom
to discuss
whether you like
it or not.
Yes.
So safe space in itself, according to other school of thought, is that it presents a hostile form of platform. And while the platform is safe for others, that same platform can be unsafe for others. But the YMCA and other international organizations are of the view that let us discuss safe space in the context of region, in the context of what confronts young people. One president profoundly responded to these same issues of gay rights, and I'm referring to Uhuru Kenyatta, that here in Kenya, the things that concerns our people are not issues of gay. People don't wake up in the morning thinking about lesbian rights and stuff. They wake up in the morning thinking about food, water, the basic things of life according to Maslow. Let us address these issues. And when we finish addressing them, and we go higher the ladder of human needs, and we come to issues of LGBT, then we will discuss that. So there's a need to look at safe space according to region, according to the context in which we find ourselves. So responding to that, The safe space in itself has been hardly hit. And another criticism is that it stifles freedom of speech. Because the proponent of safe space are similarly also against free speech. Because if you can be free to discuss whatever issue that concerns you, then another should also be so free to even criticize that same issue, if we are looking at free speech. But safe space is saying that even if you are in this room and we are discussing issues that directly come against your cultural, your religious and personal beliefs, you should not come with a judgmental approach. You should not come attempting to talk down our discussion. So it presents a situation that you should just sit and watch or sit and listen, even if it comes against you, and that is a little bit wrong.
You are a change agent.
Yes.
From subject to citizen.
That is it.
Change subject to citizens. Yeah. Don't you think this is an attempt by the white man again to tie our hands behind our back, like the way they were able to smuggle religion into Africa, took over, changed our cultural setting, that everything is now moving. Now we know our women, some of them no longer cherish cover.
Yeah.
Some even enjoy toning their skins. They have different technologies for it.
Yeah.
For instance, so because you resist it, because you resist when they bring the subject, they are introducing safe space and tell you that whether or not you are for it, don't talk when the subject is being discussed. It's not an attempt to dilute our positions on some of these things and get us to appreciate it. Because it is only when you are able to explain to me that I will understand. So preventing you not to speak would have been best. I don't want to know about it. But this time around they are saying that there is something called safe space. And because of that, whether what I'm saying is good or not, if it's against you or not, you must listen. You don't have to be judgmental. So how do I decide?
Yeah. Makati, there is a sense in which I can agree with you. Not entirely, but partly.
You will not agree entirely.
Because when you because when you look at the history of safe space,
yes,
it originated from issues about these gay rights and issues about this lesbian call, where the movement, the gay, lesbians, urban network in Europe and America, tried to put themselves together as young people to promote their concerns, to promote their issues. But then there is a sense in also coming to appreciate that safe space has gone past that kind of concept, that kind of approach. The extent to which safe space is now giving momentum to concerns of young people across board.
So what's the importance of safe space?
The importance of safe space is that to promote the concerns, to empower young people, to promote the welfare of young people, devoid of discrimination, devoid of judgmental approaches. So you are looking at one concept of the gay and lesbian rights, but someone else is looking at safe space concerning sexual harassment. And a young lady who finds himself in a company, how safe is that atmosphere so that the boss will not prey on her? The young guy who has come out of school and is doing national service and has been taken on contract basis, if this young man wants to engage the boss in terms of decent work, how safe is the work environment for this young person to engage his bosses on decent work, on good pay? Someone else is concerned about safe space when we talk about teenage pregnancy. A young girl in SHS unfortunately has gotten herself impregnated. How safe is the classroom? Can that young girl still complete her education? Right here in this studio, if people want an opportunity to excel, to move higher the ladder, and they want to engage you, McCarthy, on their aspirations as young people, how safe is that platform for that kind of discussion? So safe space in itself is not only limited to the issues that you have raised concerns on, but it encompasses all the concerns of young people. So there's a sense in which you can agree to some component of safe spaces, but the principle of safe space has gone so deep that its roots are now cemented in the overall scheme of empowering the young people. So I disagree with you, McCarthy, when you say it is an attempt by the white people to circumvent or to subtly force their agenda on us, because safe space now has gone beyond past that kind of agenda.
According to Cedric, safe space has gone past that agenda. But he was spot on when he said that we should look at safe space according to region.
According to region, according to context.
So let's zero it down. We are Ghanaians.
Yeah.
We are Africans.
Sure.
Youth of this country, from your perspective, from your point of view, as a YMC change agent, what do you think is the problem we have in this country?
Fundamentally, youth unemployment is a monster confronting young people in Ghana. McCarthy, I have read many reports. Now I've also encountered many young people who have completed school 5 years, 6 years after completion, not yet to find work. And those who are in the system, who have found a job, are not receiving the right kind of reward for their service. Others are being exploited on. McCarthy, we talk of safe space in Ghana, and recently the issue of drug abuse will come to the fore, where young people are exposed to the negativity of drug abuse. Tramadol is on the headline, where young people, in terms of their sexual approaches, will now need to use tramadol to perform in terms of their activeness, where young people are now relying on drugs to be able to prove some kind of energy. That system, in terms of safe space, how can young people come together to discuss issues about sexual and reproductive health care? That look, as a young person, these are concerns on sexual issues. Young people are taking drugs because their ladies are laying pressure on them, that you have to go 3 rounds, 10 rounds, that they have to be on a woman for 20 minutes, for 1 hour. So the young boy is being put pressure on.
Is that not misconception?
That is a misconception, but that also is not being discussed. It is being shadowed. So in terms of safe space, how can young ladies, how can young men come together and discuss the right approaches to sexual issues?
Who is to lead this agenda of making sure that these things are discussed? Whose role is that?
It cannot be the role of one person, because it's it's an attempt to pinpoint a person or an institution.
Oh, of course,
but,
yes.
But it is a call that calls for all inclusiveness. And so government, first of all, can be said to be the one to lead the agenda. And here we talk about the Ministry of Gender, here we talk about the Ministry of Youth, international organizations and coalitions.
Don't forget about the National Youth Authority.
Of course.
What are they doing? What is their role?
Yeah.
All these things.
It is not lost for me that the National Youth Authority has a number of approaches, or has made an attempt towards addressing some of these issues. And so different organizations are involved. Yourself, myself, our colleagues who are into youth activism and advocacy are all called on to duty, are all called upon to address this concern, to lead the charge in terms of addressing the concerns of young people, in terms of promoting safe space for young people. But it also depends on how we are working and from what angle we are working. The YMCA, an international organization that happens to be a change agent, is aggressively pursuing this in our own space. You are providing this platform, is leading the charge. What is needed now is to maintain the momentum and to call on those who are sitting on the bench to come to the fore, and to ask that those who are already in the approach should intensify and deepen their effort. This is how to go.
Do you sincerely think that Ghana as a nation, let me even say Africa as a continent, do you regard
it should be noted that no country or no institution or no leader can be said to completely forget about young people. So the talk that young people have been forgotten is wholly incorrect. But I also agree with those.
So how do you reconcile that? That is a correct thing to the long-standing notion by our elderly that you are the leaders of tomorrow.
Yes, that is the sense in which I tend to agree with those who have said that the call has come so long, the extent to which we should have gone past where we are now. So even though it is wholly incorrect that we are not doing anything, it is also true that there are certain approaches that are promoting the cause. But the concern has been that the approaches have not gotten us to where we ought to be. Ghana as a country should have gone past the situation where we find ourselves, where the barge of the population, the youth, do not have job. We've gone past the situation where in the abundance of many, young people are in abject poverty. But it is also true that many young people are making the ways, are crossing the lines, but that number is only few. That number does not seem to project the approaches that we're talking about. We hear government, upon government talking about creating jobs, 50,000 jobs, 10,000 jobs, and these are jobs in different sectors. But when I meet my friends,
are political engineering.
That is the point.
I don't fall for those.
I meet my friends and they ask me, Cedric, if government is creating 50,000 jobs in this sector, 10,000 jobs in this sector, how come
you hold your breath? We'll be back then. You elaborate on that point. If government claims to be claiming jobs, how come the youth are not getting the jobs? The whereabouts of the jobs. You find out when we come back from this short commercial.
Me efiada any kwesiada bia 6 to 7 p.m. Our GhTv Holland eye ohene ayeye the King's Praise eye osori enko a ye tuntum nyankopon ni aye ne kese ye frɛ me Lady Ann be na me di dwumade no chia me enyi wo firi.
Dutch classes, Ebwa partners on person will join Hunkafo or Holland and Holland and Ranch also to meet Casano. Now to meet exams and son